Okay, I started filming this with a front camera and then realized the presentation would be backwards for you, so we're redoing this. Hello, my name is Janae Sherwin, and this is my presentation on the aging society of our population. This is for my FAMS 3850 class. So first, I have U.S. statistics by age. So I have split up the three years over 100 years of what the percentages of our aging population is, or has been, and is now, and will be projected to be in 35 years from now. So in 1960, the amount of people under the age of 18 was 36%. The percentage of people over the age of 65 was 9%. And the age range between 18 and 64 was 55%. And then that altered up until 2020. The amount of people under 18 has decreased down to 22.1%, so 14% decrease. The population of people over 65 has increased up to 16.8%, which is a 7% increase-ish. And the percent of people that are between the age of 18 to 64 is 61%. In 2060, the population is projected to be 20% of people under 18, so another 2% drop. And people over 65 is supposed to represent 24% of the population, and people between 18 and 64 will be about 56%. These are due to factors like longevity. People are living longer and they're healthier these days. There's more medicine. And also people are having less kids. There's lower fertility rates. So I decided to compare to Germany, just because I'm taking a class on Germany right now. So I'm just very interested. And in 1960, the amount of people under the statistics for this one was people under 19. I couldn't find 18 and under. So slightly different, but still pretty different from the US. Not super different. It goes in the same trajectory, but the percentages vary. The people under 19 and under are represented 28%, and over 65 it was 10.9%, and people 18 to 64 60.5%. In 2020, which was just a few years ago, there was 18% people under the age of 18. People over 65 were represented 21%, so that's a 10% increase, bigger increase than the US. And the people between 19 and 64 were 60.8%. And then projected numbers are for 2060 are people who are under 18 being 18.6%, under 65 is 30.4%, and between 19 and 64 is 51%. So comparing these, some things I noticed were across the board, every year the U.S. consistently has a larger percentage of children under the age of 18. The differences is even slightly larger than the graphs show because the Germany population numbers were from 19 and under. So even more of a difference between how many kids the U.S. has versus Germany has in all three cases. The percentage of older adults is larger in Germany than in the United States across the board as well. The percentage of older adults is projected to grow by a full 10% in Germany, as opposed to about a 7% increase in the US. And for both the US and Germany, the amount of older adults is set to outnumber the amount of people under the age of 18 in the year 2060. What does this mean? So what are the implications of this? What are the advantages and what are the disadvantages, and what is predicted to happen? So I'm going to start with positives, with opportunities. So one article that I read, just like an article that I read from Sarah Hopper, who is the director of the Oxford Institute of Population Aging. She said that some opportunities of an aging population include continued economic productivity. And many older women and men remain employed. Farming in developing countries is increasingly dominated by older workers. Significant amounts of the globe's food comes from small holdings managed by older people. So that's a huge advantage. Older people, I guess, like to own farms. I'm sorry. And sorry. Yes. So yeah. Okay. In a study by the European Journal of Aging, it is highlighted that in aging societies, grandparents are more available to watch children and provide childcare for parents. For example, more than 50% of grandparents in England look after their grandchildren. So I think that that's a huge advantage, because childcare, daycare centers are expensive, and being able to hire a full-time nanny when both parents want to work that's a huge financial burden that can be lifted by grandparents. I also think that this also provides, this is personal, so this wasn't from the article, but I think that having more available childcare especially helps women in society to be able to be in careers that they want to, when they have people that they can trust, and just having people to be willing to look after their children is a great advantage. Okay, challenges. So according to the scholarly article titled "The Council of Economic Advisors on the Challenge of an Aging Population," the economic advisors warn about the percentage of government money that will have to go towards Social Security and health programs due to people having less children and life expectancy growing significantly. So this was the biggest challenge that I found. I ended up looking at a lot of articles about challenges, but they all tended to go towards talking about Social Security and health programs and how that is one of the biggest potential problems. And yeah, people care a lot about the economy. Sometimes I think too much and I'm not gonna get political. Okay, anyway. And then another challenge that I found from a PBS News clip, which mostly was about Social Security and health programs from taxes and the government, but also there were some other comments that I pulled out of it that says, it was stated that so in that interview, it was stated that the baby boomer generation and the millennial generations in the U.S. were some of the most sizable populations to be born, causing competition for resources politically, and competition between jobs. So I think that was a big deal, because and it also projects towards a growing aging population, because people being in a higher, because the amount of people in that higher, it just makes it harder. There's more competition. So, okay, how could this aging population affect my career path? So I just wanted to talk about that. So I'm a child care worker currently, and my career path, I'm considering after I graduate, going into working with people with autism. And so there's a lot to be said, especially with the child care that I'm doing now. I'm a full-time nanny, so if there's less children, there's less need for child care. And if there are more grandparents watching their kids, that, and again, also contributes to less child care. And then with people with autism, I think that there will always be people with autism. So I don't think there will be a whole lot of change in that field, in terms of like opportunity and availability. But I think that, yeah, I just think that both of those work places will still be incredibly valuable and important in 40 years from now or 35 years from now. So those are my thoughts on my career path. And here are my references. Oh, I don't know why there's a, whoops, line. So references, and thank you.